Picture this, 66 million years ago. The asteroid hasn't hit yet. Dinosaurs rule the Earth. I'm down here, beneath them, watching everything. And what you learned about them in school, what your museums tell you, almost everything is wrong. Scientists have spent 100 years staring at bones, guessing, changing their minds every decade, getting it wrong. But I was there. I lived with these creatures, and I'm tired of watching humanity believe fairy tales about them. You humans made a fatal mistake. You assumed dinosaurs were what you learned in school. Scaly, stupid, slow, angry monsters. But here's the truth I witnessed across 252 million years. Dinosaurs weren't dumb. They weren't failures. They were something far weirder, far more sophisticated, and far more relevant to your future than you realize. Part 1. You think dinosaurs were all massive, giant creatures stomping around. Wrong. Most dinosaurs were small. Smaller than dogs. Some fit in your hand. I remember a species called Compsognathus, a tiny predator, efficient, perfect for its niche. Here's what you don't understand. Bigger doesn't equal better. Nature doesn't work that way. Dinosaurs knew this. They adapted. Some grew massive because their environment demanded it. Others stayed small because that was the smarter play. You humans, you keep building bigger skyscrapers, bigger cities, bigger everything, then act shocked when they fall apart. Even I don't build things that fragile. Size is just a choice, and dinosaurs made the smart one.
Part 2. For 100 years, scientists drew dinosaurs as scaly reptiles, primitive, cold-blooded, wrong. Then, in the 1990s, they found fossils in China, feathers, actual feathers, not on one species, on dozens. And the scientific community did what they always do, acted shocked, like they hadn't been stubbornly wrong for a century. I wasn't surprised. I watched it happen. I felt small theropods evolving, watched them develop proto-feathers, watched them use those feathers for communication, for temperature control, for hunting. Here's what scientists won't tell you publicly. Dinosaurs were closer to birds than to reptiles. The line between dinosaur and bird, there is no line. Birds are dinosaurs. They never went extinct. That pigeon eating your breadcrumbs, that's a dinosaur. Your sparrow, dinosaur. That annoying seagull at the beach, dinosaur. Dinosaurs didn't die. They just learned to fly, and now they're everywhere.
Part 3. Scientists tell you dinosaurs went extinct 66 million years ago. Asteroid hit. Everything died. Tragic ending. But that's not what I felt happen. Yes, the asteroid hit. Yes, most large dinosaurs died. But not all. Not even close. The small ones survived. The adaptable ones survived. The ones who could breed quickly, hide, adjust, they survived. And they thrived. They became what you call birds. Here's what scientists won't emphasize. Extinction wasn't a wall. It was a filter, a test. It killed the over-specialized, the overgrown, the ones who committed everything to a single way of living. But the generalists, the adaptable ones, they walked right through. I watched species that had existed for 50 million years vanish in hours. I watched other species everyone thought were doomed somehow figure it out. Nature doesn't follow your script. It writes its own rules.
And here's what should terrify you. You humans are doing exactly what dinosaurs did. You're specializing yourselves into a corner. Building fragile systems, committing to strategies that only work in perfect conditions. When your filter comes, and it will you be like the birds Or will you disappear?
Part 4. Your scientists called dinosaurs stupid. Tiny brains, slow reflexes, driven purely by instinct. That's one of the most arrogant conclusions human science has ever reached. The hunting dinosaurs I watched, they weren't stupid. They were tactical. They hunted in packs. They communicated. They had complex social structures. The herbivores traveled in herds because they understood family, protection, cooperation. Some theropods had brains comparable to birds. And you know what modern birds can do? They solve puzzles. They use tools. They recognize individual humans. They plan. They hold grudges for years. Yet your scientists spent decades calling dinosaurs primitive lizards. Here's the truth. Dinosaurs were intelligent enough for their world. They didn't need human-level cognition to dominate the planet for 180 million years. They had something you humans are losing: adaptation, efficiency, the ability to thrive in their niche. Your mistake is measuring intelligence by your own standard. You think smart means thinking like humans. But dinosaurs were smart like dinosaurs, perfect for their world, and they lasted 180 million years. How long has humanity lasted? A few thousand years? Which one seems smarter? Part 5. Here's what scientists really won't tell you. They have no idea how many dinosaur species existed. Every year, new ones are discovered, multiple species. Each discovery shatters whatever understanding they had the year before. One year, T-Rex hunted alone. Next year, evidence had hunted in packs. One year, dinosaurs were cold-blooded. Next year, warm-blooded. Or both, or something in between. What I witnessed was this. Dinosaurs were incredibly diverse, more diverse than your scientists can imagine.
Different hunting strategies, different body plans, different colors, different intelligence levels. Some were apex predators, some were scavengers, some were social, some were solitary. Some had horns, some had crests, some had spikes, some had features your scientists haven't even imagined yet. Your scientists keep acting shocked by each discovery. But I knew. I watched it all unfold. I felt the planet shift as new species emerged and others disappeared. Dinosaurs didn't just exist. They dominated for 180 million years. They filled every ecological niche. They were evolution's masterpiece. And here's what's really embarrassing for your scientists. They've probably only found about 10% of the species that existed. The rest? Still in the ground.
Still buried?
Still waiting to prove them wrong again.
And then it happened. I felt it before I saw it. A shift in the planet's magnetic field. A tremor that didn't come from within the Earth. Something external. Something massive. Moving faster than anything in the solar system. When the asteroid hit, it wasn't just a disaster. It was a reset button. 180 million years of evolution, thousands of species, entire ecosystems gone in hours. But here's what your scientists won't emphasize. Extinction didn't end dinosaurs. It transformed them. The ones that could fly kept flying. They became what you call birds. They're still here, still thriving, still dominant in the skies. That's what extinction actually is. Not an ending, a transformation, a filter. And right now, humans, you're facing your own filter. Not an asteroid, not yet anyway, but climate shift, environmental collapse, species extinction, resource depletion, your own mistakes.
The asteroid didn't ask dinosaurs for permission. It just came. Nature doesn't negotiate. Here's what scientists won't tell you, because they don't want to admit they were wrong for so long. Dinosaurs weren't a failed experiment. They were a success story that lasted longer than your entire species has existed. They weren't stupid. They were perfectly adapted to their world. They didn't go extinct. They evolved. They adapted. Many of them are still here. What killed most dinosaurs wasn't weakness. It was change. Sudden, catastrophic, unstoppable. A world they weren't prepared for.
And here's my warning to you. 1. Stop measuring everything by your own standard. Dinosaurs were intelligent for their world. You're intelligent for yours. That doesn't make dinosaurs stupid. 2. Diversity is survival. Dinosaurs thrived for 180 million years because they were diverse, specialized, adapted to every environment. You humans keep specializing yourselves, making yourselves fragile. 3. Extinction isn't the end, it's a transition. The question isn't whether you survive. The question is what form you'll take when the world inevitably changes. I lived through the age of dinosaurs. I watched them dominate. I felt their extinction. I saw their descendants become birds. And I'm still here. The real truth, dinosaurs didn't fail, the world just changed. And evolution doesn't care about your plans. It only cares about whether you can adapt. Can you? Subscribe if you want to understand the real history of this planet, not the version scientists are still getting wrong. Because I've got 252 million years of stories, and they're all more relevant to your future than you think. Share this if you think humanity should know the truth about dinosaurs. Comment your questions. I'm listening. And remember, dinosaurs never actually went extinct. They just learned to fly. Maybe you will too, unless you keep making the same mistakes.